everybody. Uh, we're waiting for Sofia Benavides to be the subdirector, the co-chairman, but we need to start the meeting. And you members, you should select one person to manage the meeting. Uh,
Do we have a volunteer? Okay, thank you, Eddie.
okay.
All right, I'll volunteer. Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. Let's do a welcoming introduction of guests. We can start there and work our way around.
Manuel Alcocer, representing the Airport Advisory Board.
Good morning, Esteban Guerra, representing the Greater Brownsville Census Corporation.
Eliseo Davila, representing Cameron County.
Good morning, Antonio Zureta with the Brownsville MPO.
Michael Lopez, Assistant City Manager, City of Brownsville.
Tracy Garcia, Brownsville Metro. Omar Zamora, Brownsville Metro.
Bill Berg, Friends of the West Trail Trail.
Frank Parker, Chairman, CCR Bank.
Genesis Espinosa, Texas, amigo. Good morning, Greg Skowski, TxDOT.
David Venom, Texas.
Good morning, Mary Enriquez, Park District.
Sepulveda, CCRMA.
Anthony Gonzalo, Engineering.
Frank Aquino, Cameron County. Red Blanco, Town of Rancho Viejo.
Jim Martin, the Brownsville Observer.
Mark Milam, City of Los Fresnos.
Good morning, Pete Alvarez, TxDOT.
Good morning, Drew Brown, BISD.
Good morning, Eddie Hernandez, Brownsville Chamber of Commerce, Brownsville PUB.
Alfonso Vallejo, Deputy Director, Brownsville MPO.
Okay, item 3 is discussion and consideration and action on adoption of minutes for April 17th, 2019.
I have a comment. Mr. Long is not here because his wife is in Houston operation. I will say, be pray 1 minute, be quiet for her to recover soon.
Okay, if we could have a moment of silence for Okay, thank you. Item number 3, discussion, consideration, and action on adoption of meeting minutes for April 17th, 2019.
A motion to approve as written.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, discussion, consideration, and action on adoption of proposed administrative changes to the Metropolitan Transportation Plan as follows.
Antonio Zubeta is going to explain.
Good morning, my name is Antonio Zubeta. I'm with the Brownsville MPO. The Brownsville MPO is proposing the following MTP amendments, starting with the West Boulevard. The current description reads engineering and EA, and the current project limits read former rail corridor. The funding is through category 7, 800 federal, 200 local, and the project sponsor currently reads joint venture. So the proposed changes to this project is for it to read in the MTP as the description to say proposed multimodal corridor, study phases 1, 2, 3, and 4, limits to read on West Boulevard from Palm Boulevard at former rail line to I-69E, southbound frontage road west of Old Atlas, and the project sponsored to be the Cameron County RMA. The following transit project, BMPO TGR2, letting year 2019. It's for the rehabilitation of transit maintenance facility. It serves as a local match for subsequent components of the Tiger project. And the current project phase for this project reads component 1A. And the proposed change is for the project phase to read project 1, improve operations and passenger facility. Other transit project, the project ID is a BMPO TGR3. It's also letting year, it's 2019. And the project is for the purchase of hybrid diesel buses. The current project phase reads component 1B. And the proposed change is for the project phase to read project 3, purchase replacement revenue vehicles. And the last transit project to be administratively changed on the MTP. It's the BMPO TGR4, letting years 2019. This project is for the bus stop improvements. The current project phase reads component 1C, and that is the proposed changes to read project phase, project 2, improve bus stop safety and comfort. Do you have any questions or comments?
Purchasing of those replacement vehicles, the revenue vehicles, has that plan been in place? The original plan?
Yes, it's in place. These changes are being done to meet some of the FTA, I guess, requirements or their documentation that needs to match our plans.
They're needed.
So it's just like Mr. Lund calls it, a housekeeping item. It's just that's the reason for this changes, just so our documents match the FTA documents.
So from what I see, there's no additional funding request.
Yeah, no,
These are all just administrative.
Exactly.
So that the wording.
Yeah, that's why we're
is in
calling
the-
it an administrative.
In the form it needs to be.
Yeah.
On the improvements for the bus stops, you're adding 54 new bus stops? Is that-
Correct. Do you want to speak on that, Norma? We have Norma Zamora.
Basically, what we're having to do is we're having to change the language on the TIP document to match the description in the grant application that was submitted. So it has to be identical. Yes, we are the project in itself is going to pay for 53 bus stops. Those bus stops but of those bus stops, we've only got 43 that are pending. Some have already been completed with some local funding and other fundings that we got through other funding sources. But all of this is completely funded. The only thing is there are administrative changes that need to be. Our TIP document has to be consistent with the FTA application requirements, and that's kind of what we're trying to finalize right now.
So I guess my question would be, of these 54, how many are already existing?
Of those 11.
11. So all the other ones will be new ones?
Right. I mean, no, they're all existing. All of the bus stops are existing. They're all going to be improved. They're going to be, they're going to have sidewalks, shelters, ADA accessible, ADA ramps, bus ramps.
So no additional ones?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to accept the proposed changes.
Do we have a motion?
Thank you.
A second? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, discussion, consideration, and action on adoption of proposed administrative changes to the fiscal year 2019 through 2022 Transportation Improvement Plan as follows.
Okay, and, the, I lost one page. Yes, the following Transportation Improvement Program administrative changes. Also, again, for the West Boulevard project, current project reads it's West Boulevard, the control section job number CSJ 0921-06293. Description, it's a proposed multimodal corridor study. The existing limits are from Palm Boulevard at Formar Rail Line to the I-69 southbound frontage road west of Old Dallas. Highway, it's West Boulevard. The funding, it's 1 million, category 7. Total project cost estimated is 2,160,000, and the letting year is it should read 2022. And the proposed change to this to this project is the project sponsor for it to be the Cameron County RMA. The following transit projects, which are the BMPO 104, BMPO 110, 116, and 122, are currently listed with the project description that reads capital, and the proposed change for this 4 projects is for the description to the project description to read capital for rolling stock, bus equipment, bus facilities, bus stations, terminals, and accessory miscellaneous equipment. Also, the transit project BMPO TGR2 to letting year of 2019. It's for the rehabilitation of the transit maintenance facility. Again, the local match will be used for subsequent projects of the Tiger project. And the current project phase reached component 1A. That is going to be changed to, the project phase will now read project 1, project improve operations and passenger facility. Transit project BMPO TGR3, letting year 2019 for the purchase of the hybrid diesel buses. Current project phase reached component 1B, and the proposed change is for the project phase to read project 3, purchase replacement of revenue vehicles. And lastly, the transit project BMPO TGR4, letting year 2019 for the bus stop improvements. Current project phase reads component 1C, and the proposed change is to read project phase project 2, improve bus stop safety and comfort. So again, this is just so it can match all of our documents are matching, are the same.
Any public comments or questions? Do we have a motion? We have a motion and a second by Eliseo. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 6, discussion regarding the draft fiscal year 2020 Unified Planning Work Program.
Good morning again, this is Antonio Zubieta. So the Brownsville MPO is working on the fiscal year 2020 Unified Planning Work Program, or known as a UPWP. The purpose of this plan is it outlines the different tasks that are going to be undertaken by the MPO for the fiscal year 2020, which starts in October of 2019. Some of these tasks are let me just break down some of the tasks. Some of the regular tasks that are that remain the same from or fairly the same from the previous fiscal year, UPWP is like the 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. The 1.0, it's the administration and management. That's basically all the task covers everything that the MPO does behind the curtains to, prepare for the meetings. If we have to go to meetings, just putting together the packets. On the task 2.0, it's more of the data development. That's where we undertake some of the studies or just gathering of information. And then 3.0, we cover the short-range plan, which is a highway and the transit portion of the MPO. And the regular task 4.0 covers the long-range or the metropolitan transportation plan. So this on the UPWP, the draft fiscal year 2020, these tasks remain fairly the same. Just on task 5.0, which is a special studies, currently in the fiscal year 2019, the Brownsville MPO is working on completing the neighborhood assessment, which we utilize to look at the different neighborhoods and identify any of the mobility barriers that currently exist. We have utilized some of our public events, like the open house, to get some of that data, and we ourselves have also obtained some of that data ourselves to incorporate into this plan. So that will be finished or completed by the end of this fiscal year. And what the fiscal year 2020 UPWP proposes to have on the 5.0 task is it's a Port of Brownsville SH48 corridor study. So as you know, there's a lot of growth at the Port of Brownsville. Now with all the LNG companies coming into the port and plus the potential of the steel mill, that would increase a lot of the truck traffic along that corridor. So the MPO wants to undertake this study to evaluate and to get a better understanding of what are some of the needs that will be needed. For example, I know Mr. Lund, he outlined some of them here, like maybe an overpass, traffic signals, frontage roads. So this study would help better understand the need of the different assets that would be needed to be implemented in the future in this corridor. So that is one of the, I guess, the most significant change on this document. Again, this is still a draft document. The MPO won't be adopting this till July of 2019. So if you all have any comments or suggestions, you can make this known to the MPO.
Also, I want to add, for your information, this project document is sharing with the two MPO in the Valley directors in order to formulate a work program for the new Valley MPO. Thank you.
This is not an action item, but it is up for discussion. Any comments? Any questions? Okay, thank you. Okay, item number 7, brief presentation regarding the bus stops inventory part 1 and Brownsville Metro ride system by Brownsville Metro staff.
Norma Zamora is going to present.
Good morning, policyholders. My name is Tracy Orcias, Transit Planner for Brownsville Metro. First of all, I'd like to introduce a couple of staff that assisted with this project that I'm about to present. I'd like to introduce Miguel Mar. He is our communications specialist, and Iram Gonzalez. He is our customer service representative, as well as Alvaro Silva, who works with MIS. He is the GIS coordinator. Okay. We're just going to do a brief presentation on the bus stop inventory and ride systems. Like it was read before, this is part 1 of our presentation, and we'll go into more detail at the next MPO meeting. The goal of this presentation today is to go ahead and share our experience in our organization, from our organization, so that we can help your organization or department. First of all, I'd like to show you the device. It's there up on the screen. We brought it with us today so that we could show it to you. It's called a GNS receiver. It collects high accuracy location data. Using this device in ARC maps and with a tablet, we were able to collect exact location information from each of our bus stops. I'm going to go ahead and enter into the ARC map system so that you can see a little bit of the work that we have done. That one. And I'm sorry, I didn't have a wireless mouse. So go ahead and click the first one. Okay, that's fine. Go ahead and click that one. You can't see the whole picture here. However, there is 588. There we go. There's the first screen. There's 588 bus stops that we went out and did inventory on. This is the complete Brownsville area of all of our bus stops. Go ahead and click the second one over. So as you can see, there's an individual bus stop. If I could move it, which it doesn't move, there you go. It shows all the data of the information that we gathered. We checked for sidewalks, things like that, and did a thorough inventory on our bus stops. Go ahead. Each one of these, we took a picture at the location, and that picture is uploaded into the system. So that's an example of the picture that is uploaded. Can you go back to the presentation, please? Next, we sent all the gathered information to a company that's called Ride Systems. Ride Systems took the information, uploaded it into a website, and created an application for Brownsville. With the system, anyone visiting the site will be able to track each one of our buses. Not only that, Ride Systems has several functions which will bring a huge benefit to the community. Can you go ahead and click on it for me? Some of the benefits that the passengers will be able to partake of, go ahead and go to the first, is live data from our system. This, at the very moment, is live. If you look at the screen, you can see some of it moving. If you go really close, you can see it moving closer. Go ahead and click on the next slide over, the next. Those are all of our routes, and it has all those bus stops in there. Like I said, beginning this presentation, we will go into more detail at the next meeting about how this system functions and works. Can you go back to the presentation, please? So today, I would like to speak a little bit more about why we are doing this. These pictures are actual riders for Brownsville Metro. Currently, these passengers are relying on paper schedules, or they're calling our customer service representatives to get information about our routes. I myself, several years ago, was a Brownsville Metro passenger. Becoming an employee at Brownsville Metro, I continually look for ways to improve the system. About a year ago, we had the opportunity to get to know Ride Systems. We tested it out on our Metro Connect system. After we saw the benefits of the Metro Connect system, we realized that the community really needed this benefit. Due to the success of that, we went out and did what we could to receive the funding to go ahead and implement this here in Brownsville. I'm going to talk a little bit about our passengers. Last year, we had approximately 1.6 passenger trips. Of those 1.6 million passenger trips, 1.4 of them were on our fixed route system. That was the same system that you saw a moment ago that we have done all the inventory on. I would like to invite all of you to download the app, see what we've done here for the system. And on June 3rd, we're going to have our press release, and we invite all of you to attend at La Plaza Terminal.
Thank you so much, Tracy. I'm so proud of the work that our team has done to accomplish this effort. This project's behind-the-scenes activities that have to take place to make it seamless and effortless to the end users was achieved through a combined efforts and resources from Brownsville Metro staff, the MIS department, Public Works, Foresters Division. All of it was done in-house and took approximately 1 month. It just goes to show the dedication and the talent that we have within our city department staff. Most organizations contract this service out at a cost of thousands of dollars. We are very excited that the outcome of all this work will make public transit services more convenient to our current riders and offer non-riders a choice to utilize Brownsville Metro services. This GNS receiver has been a great resource for exact accuracy plotting of all our bus stop locations, gathering condition data, updating our bus stop inventory assets, and giving us the ability to create shape files. These behind-the-scenes activities is what brings our Ride System app to life. A more detailed presentation on the app features will be presented next month, as Tracy previously mentioned. Being passed out to you is a how-to-use guide for the app, and I invite you all to download it to your cell phones and take a ride on Brownsville Metro. Thank you. Any questions? We're really excited about this.
I had a question. So I'm assuming that as a bus rider, I can then see exactly where the bus is, so I know. Now, am I able to like get an estimate on? Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
here.
Yeah, it'll tell you the bus will be there in about 10 minutes, so that actually you can and like Tracy said, at the next meeting, they're gonna give you all of the details of how it'll work, but it'll give you an alarm that the bus is on its way to the bus stop, to give you enough time to get to the bus stop and be able to pick it, know that it's gonna be there on time.
Cool.
Or it's gonna give you the exact time it's gonna get to the bus stop, which, that's very exciting in itself, but all the work that took to get that information so it's seamless to the users is what this team created, and it took them a month of dedicated long hours, working on the weekends, alongside doing their work. This is like other duties that's assigned for this particular project. But we're very excited, and I'm very proud of the staff of what we've been able to accomplish with this app. Well, with this app, and what it's gonna do towards our passengers, our citizens, and maybe, one of these days, we'll see you in one of our buses.
I have a question related to you mentioned 1.6 million passengers per year, or what was?
We provide 1.6 million passenger trips annually.
Annually.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
I applaud your efforts to do it in-house, and I look forward to learning more about it.
And we're excited to present it to you next week, and next month. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next, item number 8, presentation and discussion of TxDOT project status report.
Good morning, everybody. Dave Vera with TxDOT, our San Benito area office. I'll be presenting this month's project updates. This month, we have 3 projects to present. The first one is the IH-69 Frontage Road Overlay Project. As you see there in your screens, there's 3 different color variations. You have your black section, you have your green section, and you have a red section. The black section is the sections that have been completed to the 1.5 inches of the hot mix pavement. And the striping is complete, which is on your northern part of the photo there that you see there near Omito and by 511. The red section is the typical roadway that's still pending to be worked on. What you see there in green is the areas are being milled. What's happening is the roadway is being milled 1.5 inches deep, and then it's being covered up with a new pavement section. And you'll see in your next photos some of those operations, some of those activities. What you see there is a little red section between the two black sections on the west side of the expressway. That's the section where the overpass for the hike and bike and the Furnace Road overpass construction project is taking place. So that section is going to be omitted, but once we complete that project, it'll have a new, fresh overlay as well. Some of the activities that I mentioned were taking place, so the milling operations you see there, that's your milling machine with the transport vehicles hauling off the excess material that's being milled off the roadway. Currently, the milling operations have started from FM 802, working their way south. Everything north of that has been milled on the southbound lanes. The hot mix operations, as you see in this photo, are taking place right after that. What we're trying to do now is have a 2-day lead time between milling operations and overlay operations to limit the amount of exposure that the roadway is exposed to after the milling operations. We have increased our sweeping operations as well, and limit the amount of work that takes place. As far as between these two operations, of course, keep in mind that weather does play a big impact in covering these areas up. So as long as the weather stays clear, we're able to kind of move forward and limit the time that the areas are exposed to traffic between the two operations. The hot mix operation you see there, currently they're working on the center lane in front of Chick-fil-A, and they're working their way south up to the off-ramp for FM 802, by where the dealership for the Volkswagen dealership is at. And the plan is to cover all that area up to there by the end of the day today, tomorrow, and then keep going south after that.
Okay. I believe we have a question back.
Right there where Pablo Quisel ramp is in front of Sunrise Mall, y'all are gonna have to rebuild the roadway a little bit, or are you gonna leave those, you can tell where it's getting ready to fail, the road is there?
On the Furnace Road?
Yeah, right where you have the little divider so you can't
Yes.
go over, all over there, that road's sinking down. I mean, there's big potholes when it rains, I mean, there's big water holes.
I did notice an area that the flex space, the substructure of the roadway was exposed. Not sure we're talking about the same location or not, but the contractor did lay a thin film of the pavement to cover that area up. But yes, as we're moving along, if there are any imperfections, they're being addressed accordingly.
What's the estimated completion date?
Currently, we're looking at about 2 more months, but 2 or 3 more months. As right now, the concentration is working southbound. Once we're completed with the southbound Furnace Road lanes, they'll turn around and work their way northbound. And at the end, they'll concentrate on all the underpasses underneath all the expressways.
Just to clarify, one of the goals that we have is to work in segments at a time. In other words, not tear up the entire thing. So typically, a roadway segment is about a 2-week, and then we go to the next segment. This is a very long project. Many areas need to be addressed, so we try to break it up to minimize inconvenience to the traveling public.
Any other questions?
The next project is the FM 3248 Alton Glore Raised Median Parking Improvement Project next to the hike and bike trail. This project is now complete. This is just a few pictures of the improvements that took place at that location. You see the little raised median there in the middle for the turn lane to allow access to that parking area, as you see in that bottom photo. Next improvement there, you'll probably be seating, some type of vegetation improvement, but that completes this the work under this contract, which in the previous months, the improvements took place on FM 802 near the expressway on both sides where the Whataburger was at, the information center, Brownsville Information Center, in that area there. This was just part of that contract. The last project I have to present is the traffic signal and sidewalk improvement project. There are 2 contracts. This one in particular is on SH 48. at Bernard between Medical and McLeland. You see the improvements of the sidewalk and the improvements on the traffic signal. There's already a traffic signal there, but we're updating it to the newest, the most current standards. This is just a picture of that ongoing activities that you'll see along that sector. That completes my presentation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Item 9, presentation and discussion of off-system projects as follows. City of Brownsville.
Good morning. First project I'm going to discuss is the El Mago Drive improvements. The limits are from Las Palmas Circle and Price Road. As you all know, this intersection of Price and Las Palmas, the exit there gets very congested, so this is going to provide an outlet for the residents that are, and hopefully alleviate the traffic congestion at that intersection of Old Portisville and Price. Currently, right now, they've cut the subgrade, stabilized it, and next step would be putting in the base, which should be coming in the next few weeks, or probably this week, they'll start that. They've already cut the grade.
Okay, now where is this?
You know where Las Palmas Circle is, at the intersection of Price and Old Portisville Road?
Okay. Okay.
That development there, Las Palmas Circle, we're creating basically a cut.
So that's across from the church, Masamia.
Right, yeah, across from St. Luke's, yes.
Okay.
All right.
Do you have any date for completion?
Yes, hopefully by the end of June, we should be done with that. Next project is Roosevelt Street. Limits are from McDavitt Boulevard to East 13th Street. The time these pictures were taken, they were still working on the base work, the limestone base, but they've already completed that. They've actually already started placing concrete work, curb and gutter, and working on driveways, and they'll be starting sidewalks pretty soon as well. It's moving along quite nicely. This one should be finished by the end of June as well.
June also?
Yes. That's all I have.
Thank you. Cameron County? Do you have a question?
I have a question. Will it be safe for bicycles on Roosevelt Avenue after it's, or Roosevelt Street after it's completed?
Yes. We'll have sidewalks and shadows for lights.
Okay, bicycles may use it.
Cameron County? No updates? Thank you. Cameron County RMA? Pete?
Good morning. For the record, my name is Pete Sepulveda, Executive Director of the Cameron County RMA. First project we've got on the screen is the Southport Connector project. This project has been environmentally cleared by TxDOT. We're in the process of finalizing the design approval process from TxDOT. And so the next phase of the project will be the bidding, the construction phase. We believe the project is fully funded at this point, and so we're currently working with the district staff and FAR to begin the next phase, which again is the bidding construction phase. The Veterans Bridge project, CBP Primary Lane Expansion Project, we submitted about a month ago the 90% design submittal to the federal agencies. We had a conference call earlier this week to go over all the comments that CBP and GSA provided to us. We're incorporating that into the 90% design submittal, and by the end of the month, we should submit the final 100% plans to GSA and CBP for their approval. So we're working with the district staff and the MPO staff, not only on this project, but also on a couple of other projects, Old Dallas project, Whipple Road, and the plan is to bring an item at the next policy committee meeting for the committee's recommendation on funding for this project, Old Dallas, from Highway 100 to Sports Park, and then Whipple Road in Los Fresnos. The GAP 2 project, we're working with the district staff and getting the necessary AFAs for this project. project is fully funded at this point, but we do need to amend the existing design to ensure that it meets interstate standards. This is the last gap between Olmito and the entrance to the Port of Brownsville. Once we get this completed, then the entire route will be, or will meet interstate standards, and it'll be able to be signed as Interstate 169. Old Dallas Road, this is a project where the RMA is doing the environmental. We're working with city and the county to try and get local funds to complete the engineering. As I mentioned earlier, we're working with the MPO staff on getting an agenda item next month to have the committee consider the funding that's necessary from Highway 100 to Sports Park. We're working with TxDOT on the environmental documents. We have completed the noise analysis. We're working on the cultural resources, those being the archaeological survey and the historical analysis that is required for the environmental document. Morrison Road, on this one, we're working with the City of Brownsville on the advanced funding agreement with TxDOT. We have received the EDC reduction from TxDOT, so the local match required by the city will go down from 20% to about 5.8%. So it's a good savings for the City of Brownsville. Once we get those, then we can proceed and work with TxDOT on the consultant selection process for the environmental document and the schematics. East Loop, this one we're doing the environmental document in-house. We're using local money to do the necessary upgrades of the study. We're combining the two environmental documents into one document. We've got a consultant that provided the traffic analysis. We have a consultant that's doing the archaeological survey and the historical analysis as well. Those should be ready in the next 45 to 60 days. Once we get those will be incorporated into the environmental document. The schematics, they're about 60% now, but by the end of the month, they should be at about 100%. Once we get those, then we'll submit to TxDOT for their review. We are also working with the district staff in getting an advanced funding agreement for this project. And we're working with the district staff on the funding for the construction for this project. We're currently developing this as an off-system project, but the discussion we've had with TxDOT is, in the next couple of months, hopefully we convert it from off-system to on-system. And so we'll continue to coordinate that with the district staff. Indiana Avenue, this is a project by the Brownsville Airport. I believe last week we just submitted the EDC application to TxDOT, again, to lower the local match from the 20% to the 5.8%. We do have funding, through the MPO to do the environmental document. So once we get an advanced funding agreement, we get the EDC reduction approved, we'll work with TxDOT and go through the consultant selection process. Whipple Road, we do have an advanced funding agreement fully executed, and we're working with TxDOT in going through the consultant selection process. This is in the Los Fresnos area, behind the Walmart. This will connect Paredes Line Road to 1575. We're staying within the existing right-of-way, and we're going to two-lane rural roadway with a continuous center turning lane. And so we're currently working with TxDOT on the consultant selection process. Then the last slide is the US 77. We continue to advocate for the funding. We've had discussions with the district engineer on the funding necessary to complete all the improvements between Brownsville and Corpus. And so hopefully in the next couple of years, the projects can be fully funded, and we can sign the entire 125 miles as Interstate 69E. Any questions?
I have a question on the expansion of Morrison Road from 550 from Paredes Line Road. There's a wonderful bike trail or bike path alongside going to be continued from Loretta's Line Road to 550, so bicycles can ride safely. That's about the only high-speed road in Brownsville that I would dare ride on.
Yeah, we're not at that point yet, but, we'll coordinate with the city, and I'm sure that that's going to be one of the alternatives that we look at. But once we go through the selection process and select a consultant, and we start the environmental document, then we'll go through that. And then part of the environmental document process includes public involvement, so there'll be plenty of opportunity to look at different alternatives.
Thank you very much.
Pete, one question. On the US 77, I-69, how long do you think it's going to be to get that designation?
The other Pete is probably in a better position to answer the question.
So yes, real quick status on the US 77 in the Kennedy County area. We currently have 2 ongoing projects, northern Willacy, southern Kennedy County. They're currently in construction. So we have approximately 43 miles yet to be constructed from that point all the way to the Claver County line. We have procured a consultant to start the plan specs process. One of their first tasks is to develop a financial model that can determine what are the next steps, which are the projects that are reasonable and feasible to be able to let in the coming years. Our intentions are for the FAR district down here, we'll continue our march north, if you will, while the Corpus Christi district continues to march south from I-37, the Robstown, and going through Rivera and what have you. And the intent is we would meet somewhere in the middle, probably in Sarita area, if you will. To answer your question, this total project cost is about $320 million. So obviously it's a very expensive overall project. However, we are working closely with our administration. We have identified this as a major rural connectivity project to connect Interstate I-37 from Corpus Christi down to the valley. And we were working with our administration to try and expedite. Our goal, have shovel-ready projects, so that if money does become available, we can deliver them.
Is there any?
If I had to estimate at this time, it'd be probably the 5 to 7 year time frame. That's being optimistic. But we fully intend to have PSC ready to go.
And are there plans for Rivera and Driscoll already?
Yes, the Corpus Christi district, the TxDOT Corpus Christi district is already working on those projects. And as I mentioned earlier, they're working their way south, we're working our way north and meeting there in Kennedy County.
Okay.
And so they've also have some good progression on those relief routes around Rivera and around Driscoll. So there's been a lot of progress by both districts to make this happen.
Yeah, if y'all have driven through the Driscoll area in the last couple of weeks, you see a lot of progress on the relief route. I think they already cut the road, so it's taking shape.
Thank you. Any other questions?
There's a comment in the back.
I would like to see if we can put on the agenda maybe for another meeting for discussion about eliminating trucks on 802, including my trucks, that are coming from the warehouse area out by the port, 48, and they're cutting over to the expressway in front of the mall, and y'all have been behind them, you know what the traffic they're causing there. If we could push them on to 511 and 550 from that side of town, I think we're gonna help that road get a little relief from congestion, especially if they're gonna start construction on 3 lanes in there. It's gonna get pretty hairy and everything. So I'm not sure how we do this process, if we have to go through a public process, but I think it would benefit all citizens of Brownsville to use that road.
Thank you, Frank, for those comments. FM 802 obviously is a state roadway. We will work with the city of Brownsville. If the city would like to pursue that, there would be ordinances that would have to be passed, resolutions, if you will, as well to eliminate that from happening. There's a process for that. We'd be happy to visit with the city of Brownsville to explore that opportunity.
So Alfonso, is that something that you all would put on the agenda? Or does somebody need to request that?
We need to request.
You need a request? So could you make that request in writing for us? Thank you. lost my train of thought. There was one other question I had. Okay, I guess we'll move on. Port of Brownsville?
Mr. Chairman, MPO members, my name is Ariel Chavez, excuse me, and I'm here to report on the port and the Brownsville MPO. The first project that we have here is the, let's see, the old docks number 2 and 5. We're doing some bulkhead repairs there. Okay, there's some action on this thing. Basically, we have a problem at that exact location there in between old docks number 2 and number 5. We've got there's some shifting on the wall, and we've already engaged an engineer to design that work. We anticipate completion of the design in the next 2 to 3 weeks, at which time we'll go out for bids. This is probably not a very big project, but it's something that's really important to the port because it's a connectivity area there between old docks number 2 and number 5. The other project, basically our flagship project, is the ship channel deepening improvements. This is a project that we've been working on since 2006 with the Corps of Engineers. As you know, we went through the whole study, completed in 2014, got it approved by the legislature in basically Congress. This actually took a literal act of Congress in 2016. We don't have funding, but we've been working with private partners to fund this project. And just Monday, I received notification from the consultant that 95% plan specifications and estimates are complete. Actually, plan specifications, we've been having trouble getting the files over to us because of the size of the files. So we still need to do a quick review, and we are planning on submitting the full package by 100% package in June so that we can get reviews and finalize our permits with the Corps of Engineers before the end of this year and try to go out for bids on that project as early as 2020. So that project actually encompasses the entire ship channel except for the last reach that you can see here in the lower left-hand corner. There's a portion there from station number 80. It's difficult to see on the screen, but it's up in the area. I don't know if this one does it, but. So yes, we're basically deepening the channel from the old 42 authorized depth to 52, and that is going to involve dock improvements also on some of the docks that are going to be benefited by the deeper draft. And the new old dock, which is this next project that I'm showing you here, this new old dock number 6 that's currently under construction. This old dock is located at a point where it's prior to the location of the end of the deepening. So this one is going to receive direct benefit from the deepening. But this one was designed, actually we designed it to both 42 and 50, and it was bid at 50. So this will take advantage of the deeper draft immediately. But we've got several other docks in this same region that need to be upgraded to the deeper draft. This is now about a $28 million project, which also included upgrades to old dock number 3, which you see there to the right, and also docks dredging, some maintenance dredging that we did on 9 of our docks, including 3 and 5, and some of the cargo docks on the south side. So that's the encompassing area of that project. This is a pictorial of what old dock number 6 is going to look like. This is pretty much, basically they've already finished all the pile driving. They're doing the casting of the concrete. They've already finished the 2 structures to the left. They've already cast some of the, I take it back, the 2 structures to the right, the left. They have the forms working on setting everything up so that they can complete the concrete casting of that area. Another project that we have, of course, is the Keppel Amphil Vessel Assembly and Erection Pad. This is a project that is going to assist Keppel Amphils with the fabrication of vessels. They're working on some LNG vessels right now, and this is a new pad that we're pouring there in the area of Keppel Amphils. This shows you a little bit of the location, some of the beam reinforcements that we've had to do. Here you see some of the concrete being laid and floated. So here you see some of the pad already completed. And here you already see, even though the project right now is only about 40% complete, AmFels is already using the areas that are complete to start the fabrication of some of these large vessels. So we anticipate completing this project in the next couple of months. We are continuing to have progress meetings with the contractors and make sure that they stay on track, testing of the concrete and everything. This is now about a $5.2 million project, and we're doing it basically to assist in the job creation here in the area. Another project that we have here is the Southport Connector. The RMA already gave a report on that. Basically, all I wanted to show is that we've been working with them closely on the issue of the entrance here. We're trying to make sure that we locate our guard shack or our guard house in a place that won't interfere with the entrance and exit of the equipment that we anticipate to be receiving here through the SpaceX. So that is one of the primary things that we're doing. This project also, we're about 100% plan specifications and estimate. We've got a couple of minor things that we're working on with the consultant and with the project manager in the FAR district. He's been tied up for this week, so we're working on everything to finalize with him, but we are continuing to be in contact with them and with the RMA to finalize all the different issues. One thing that our board did in the last board meeting was they actually designated the roadway as a public right-of-way, which was one of the requirements for the funding. So that's been dedicated and filed already, and we've sent the dedication document already to FAR District. I think this is the last project, is the Port Road improvements, phase number 2. This is a project that was done through also through TxDOT with partial funding. This is about a $2.2 million project, and about $900,000, $868,000 is being funded by TxDOT. In addition, there's some improvements that we're doing at the intersection of 550 and 48, basically just adjusting the turning radii for the trucks because the angles were too sharp, so that adjustment is also part of this project. At this point, this project is almost complete. They've already finished Old 48, Callaway Drive, and Milo Road, and right now they're working on Faust Road, which is right there by our main office. They're gonna take another 4 to 5 weeks to finish that, and then at the same time they're working on the intersection under the 550. So within the next couple of months we'll be done with this project. This is about, as I said, a $2.2 million project, and that's basically it. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you.
Thank you. I had one question that I want to go back, and I think it goes back to TxDOT. Do we have a status update on the Boca Chica project, the median? Oh.
Okay, I don't have a status update at this point, but we will make sure to have an update for the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item 10, new business.
I don't know if it's new or old, but could we get an update on the MPO merger?
I can take that, Eddie. Real quickly, as many of you have heard and seen on the various newspapers, April the 24th was a historic day for the Rio Grande Valley. The 3 MPOs signed the redesignation agreement at the COG on that Wednesday afternoon. The following day, April the 25th, the Valley delegation made a trip up to Austin. Commissioner Sofia Benavides, County Judge Trevino from Cameron County, and others from Hidalgo County assisted, if you will, with Senator Hinojosa to present the redesignation agreement to the TxDOT Commission. That redesignation agreement signed by the various parties was submitted on May the 6th to the governor's office. It is sitting in the governor's desk for final review and approval. It is our understanding that the governor is going to be making a special trip at the end of the month or early June after the legislative session to sign and approve the agreement here in the Valley, like I said, end of May, early June. We have a lot of work before us. Step number one was to get the redesignation agreement signed and executed by the various parties. There's a couple things that need to happen between now and then. Namely, the new policy board would need to meet, approve the updated or the merged bylaws, if you will, hiring an executive director. And most importantly, there are several documents that each of the three MPOs currently manage, the UPWP, MTP, and the TIPS. Currently there's three MPOs, there's three different sets of documents. Those would have to be merged in the coming months. It is anticipated that the governor will be requesting that the new MPO stand up officially on October the 1st of 2019, which means between now and then, there's a lot of work to be done. It is my understanding that the three MPOs are already working together to ensure that there's a seamless transition moving forward. The three MPOs will continue to operate between now and October the 1st, and the intentions are for October the 1st, the new MPO officially stand up. There's several steps that need to happen between now and then, but it is exciting times for the Rio Grande Valley. There's a lot of discussion about the valley in Austin at headquarters. So that's a real quick update. I don't know if there's any questions that you all may have, additional questions?
Yeah, so it is a benefit of our MPO to get as many projects on the board that we can before we merge those documents. Shouldn't that be our goal? Before we start merging documents, that we load up the project?
That is exactly right, and it is my understanding that we're doing those updates as we speak, and so that each of the MPOs would have that opportunity. So when the merge happens, if you will, all the various documents, one of the things that was part of the stipulation, if you will, any project on the UTP would be honored. So any project within the 10-year plan is going to be honored, and that's a big statement. So hopefully, all those projects are continuing to move along. One of the things that we always suggest and recommend, give projects shovel-ready, because the projects that are shovel-ready the funding finds its way, if you will.
Has a determination been made on the governance and on, I guess, how the budget's going to work?
So those details are being looked at this time. The overall, the redesignation agreement had a lot of verbiage in it that is an attempt to make that happen. I will share with you that the draft bylaws have been shared to the various cities and county elected officials for their review and coordination to try and reach consensus on the bylaws. So that is being worked on as we speak by the various cities and counties.
So there will be one MPO, or will there be one overarching MPO and subsidiaries?
There would be one RGV MPO, and there would be 3 sub-regions within that MPO. The sub-regions would be the Hidalgo County MPO, the Upper Valley, if you will, the Harlan-San Benito sub-region, the Central Valley, and then the Brownsville MPO, the Lower Valley. So one MPO, 3 sub-regions.
Any other questions? Any other new business? Okay.
I have a comment. Yesterday, we start doing the CMP project to try to finish at the end of September 30th. And it went very well. We have the city and traffic, the police department, that they have a knowledge of where is the congestion, accidents. So the consultant is going to analyze that areas that we selected, plus other sections to continue the study. So it went excellent. And later on, I will give you the updated reports.
All right, thank
That's
you.
all.
We're, motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion, second?
Second.
Multiple seconds? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.